are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. This is Locked On Hornets. It's the rock sign here on YouTube. You can chat with us on YouTube, by the way. Jump on youtube.com/Locked On Hornets. Chat with us in the chat window, and we will read it here on the air. Justin's going to join us in a bit live from Spectrum Center, where he is covering Hornets and Nets happening in just under an hour. Shout out to the crew as well. Calamity James, she's going to be up later with the showdown. And Captain Kurt, his bark is way bigger than his soundbite.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Nice.
And Zach, also, he's making and taking tweets back there in the studio. So make sure to say hi to him on Twitter at Locked On Hornets. We've got a great show ahead. We're going to be stopping the pace of play with a little segment we're calling Under Review. It's a game of true or false here on Locked On Hornets. And plus, we're going to be talking about our GIF of the week, courtesy of Captain Kirk, a.k.a. Hornets Gifts. But before we do that, let's step back.
And he's got to hit the three on that one.
Couple of things we saw this week in Hornets action. We may have liked it, we may have not liked it, but we thought it deserved a hat tip and a how do you do. First up, David, what you got?
Well, there wasn't too much to like on this road trip, Doug, so I'm going to put my favorite thing, which was the end of it. The end of this game here, Doug. What do we got here? What highlight is this?
Oh.
This is Chicago-Charlotte. I'm not familiar with that game
last
week. But you know what? Let me fill you in. Let me tell you what happened at the end of the Utah Jazz game.
Okay.
It ended. And it ended this road trip, thankfully.
Yeah.
We got off of the road. The Hornets are back in town tonight, which is just what they needed to do. A good game in Utah, but just didn't have enough gas in the tank.
Yeah, what we meant to show you was the end of that game, and that's
it looked kind of the same. There were guys, there was a ball, there was people in the crowd.
All right, well, I'm going to make it up because I'm stepping back to Utah as well, and to the debut of Miles Plumlee and his defense. Look at him here, staying with Alex Burke on the drive, and here it is again in slow motion. Watch him just sort of anticipate Burke's drive. And he basically forces the miss there and gets the strong rebound. And that was early on in the first quarter, so he had a lot of energy. Ooh. And watch him on the recovery here. First of all, they sort of try to ice it, and it doesn't happen. And Burks does get middle here, but nice recovery there by Plumlee. And then this is Plumlee's second block. Verticality. That's what you're going to see a lot of from Miles Plumlee. Physicality and verticality. He's able to secure the block there. So, I think there's some good things that we saw. Again, if you don't want to get too heavy on the expectations, but we saw a little of what you called, I like this, Cody Zeller light.
Yeah, Cody Zeller light.
Yeah.
There'd be Zeller. I was trying to think of another, like Bud Light. No, it doesn't. It's Cody Zeller light works.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay, it's interesting you said verticality, of course, because verticality was popularized by former Hornet Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, and I think the difference with his verticality is that he's going to give that verticality, but he's also going to be able to show hard on screens and recover back to his man and move very quickly on the floor on defense. And there are some conditioning issues. Coach Clifford mentioned that he's going to have to get back into the groove because in Milwaukee, you have to understand, sometimes he played 0 minutes, sometimes he played 18 minutes, and so game shape is different from practice shape. We've heard that time and time again. And so they're going to be working him back in small. He's probably going to play 15 to 18 minutes. It's just, you saw Frank Kaminsky get back in there pretty quickly. It's going to be more short spurts as opposed to, long stretches for Miles Plumlee, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, and Cody's out again tonight, so he's going to be playing some probably extended minutes than he will see later in the year, but he should have fresh legs. Look at it that way, right?
Let us know what you think about Miles Plumlee and his performance on Twitter, twitter.com/Locked On Hornets, or you can go to YouTube and chat with us live. Each week, we are asking you our question of the show. The Hornets are on the outside looking into the Eastern Conference playoff race right now. We know that this team is full of competitors and fighters who are going to want to win and get into the playoffs no matter what, but our question of the show is, Would it be better for the organization if they dropped into the lottery? We've got the poll up on Twitter now if you want to vote. I'm genuinely interested in what people think about this because we're at this sort of teeter-totter pivotal point in the season where the Hornets season could go one way or the other. All right, let's go out to the Locked On Hornets line, standing by very patiently. Bring him in live from Spectrum Center, where the Hornets are getting set to take on the Brooklyn Nets. He covers the Hornets for ESPN Charlotte. Justin Thomas. Justin, first, before we talk Hornets, you went to the Super Bowl. You were in Houston for that amazing game. Do you have a good story for us?
Thinking that we like to keep this clean around here, I don't have any.
Cleanish?
But, yeah, we just like to keep it clean around
Well, who
here.
did you see?
You have no clean stories.
Yeah,
all your stories.
I was going to say, where?
All right, wait. I do have one.
Okay.
Well, I don't even know if it's a story. I guess I can just say who I saw.
Okay.
So I can say the first person I saw getting off the airport was Luke Kuechly.
Nice.
I thought that was pretty
Panthers
interesting.
linebacker.
And then when I was in the mall trying to look like I had some money, I ran into Josh Norman.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You're burying the lead here. You went to the Super Bowl and you were at the mall at one point?
Yeah. Let me tell you, the Galleria in
Had to-
Houston, fellas,
Had to
is
go to the
nicest
Gap,
mall I've ever been to.
buy a new T-shirt?
It's a good scene.
Oh, no. I was just in there trying to be seen, and I say trying to be seen like I'm important. But, I was just out there people watching and ran across a few football players, a few athletes. So it was a good time. But let me tell you, fellas, Houston is a great city.
All right, let's move our focus to basketball here. You are live in the Spectrum Center. The Hornets getting set to take on the Brooklyn Nets, trying to get off this slide, Justin, 7 games now. What do the Hornets need to be focusing on to get things back on track, or what are they focusing on?
I'm going to say everything. And when I say everything, it's because there are bits and pieces of things they could collectively work on. Like prime example, before we even get into that, I watched Cody Zeller go through his warm up, and he looks pretty good. He moved well, he shot the ball fairly well, but as he was leaving, he was still laboring as if I possibly can go, but there's definitely still a little pain there. So that's still a game time decision. But just hanging around with a few assistant coaches, and they were all very lax, very focused and confident, but understanding that there's some things they need to get better on. They need to shoot the ball better. We all know about their fourth quarter blunders, and they just need to be better. Like there are little aspects of this entire team that needs to get better. And tonight, you're playing a team with 9 wins, but from this season series, Brooklyn tends to give them 6. So tonight will be an interesting one because they need a win bad.
Yeah, Justin, and Hornets PR just put out a tweet right before we came on air saying that Cody would be out tonight, so not able to make it into the lineup tonight.
Well, listen, the Hornets right now, Justin, and I know you'll agree with this. They not only need to prove that they can win a basketball game, but they need to prove that they can win one without Cody Zeller. I mean, I understand
They've
that
only won one.
I know, I understand that he is a vital piece, but I think that a playoff team has to be better than losing one starter. Unless that starter is superstar status, which I think we can agree here that Cody Zeller is not. So, I think they've got to prove that they can beat a Brooklyn Nets team with a good center in Brook Lopez tonight.
They definitely do. And even addressing to me before, Clifford said our 3-point shooting needs to get better. Like last year, we shot the ball well. We were up in attempts. We were makes. We defended it pretty well. And that was the difference. And this year, and we've even talked about this, of guys getting open looks and not being able to connect. We're saying we have to make shots. And, the Hornets have nice numbers in all of the defensive categories. But on offense, outside of Kemba, guys have to make shots. That means Nick. That means Marvin. That means Batum. That means Lamb, Bellinelli. Guys have to make shots. And there's been a lot of games where if the Hornets just make some shots, they win 4 or 5 more games, but shooting has been an issue.
Yeah, cold stretch killed them against Utah, and they've had some 3-point shooting stretches that have been less than ideal. Hey, want to get your thoughts real quick before we get you out of here. I know you got to get to covering this game. What are your thoughts on the Miles Plumlee trade? Haven't heard from you since that went down.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it because
he likes it.
I sat back and thought about this for a while because I understand people talked about the figures and like, oh man, what is this man gonna be able to do? but you got rid of some bad weight. Like Roy Hibbert, you thought he'd be able to do something until you realized his legs were shot.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer, he was a pro. He came in, and he did some things well, and he was ready when his number was called. But what I like about the Plumlee thing is, one thing I've seen from the second unit is their finesse. They need some form of a physical presence. Yeah. So Plumlee's addition, he's not going to go out and give you 10, 12 points. That's not even necessarily what they need. They need a guy with some size. He provides that. He can do some rim protecting. He can do some rebounds. And more importantly, he's going to have 6 fouls. They need somebody that can kind of rough it up, instill some toughness. And I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to bring a high motor. He's going to rebound. He can do some rim protecting. And he's just going to go out there and give them some toughness that they definitely need for that second.
Oh, yes!
Good stuff,
and,
Justin. Yeah.
And I will actually say this. I think this is like the Tyler Hansbrough move of last year, but Miles Plumlee is actually going to play. And I think that's what they're going to use him for.
Interesting thoughts there from Justin Thomas. You can follow him on Twitter at Justin Thomas NBA. And, of course, he's going to join us back in the studio next week. Justin, enjoy yourself. Buy me some nachos. I'll be there in like 45 minutes, okay?
I'm going to say, enjoy the show, Fuzz. I'll be listening, and I can look forward to next week.
All right. Thanks, buddy. It's Kemba Walker week here on Locked On Hornets, and it's going to be Kemba Walker night coming up in Spectrum Center February 11th. The Hornets take on the Los Angeles Clippers, and they will be honoring Kemba Walker's induction into this year's All-Star game. And so we want to celebrate as well by getting our listeners, our watchers, a chance to attend that game. We've got 4 tickets, and we've been kind of holding this close to the chest. We want to reveal how you can get your hands on the tickets. Go ahead, hit it! Visit LockedOnHornets.com/tickets and enter for a chance to win those tickets to Hornets versus Clippers February 11th. Again, that URL, LockedOnHornets.com/tickets. Easy enough. And you get a chance to check out our new website. And you can, if you do win those 4 tickets, you will get a chance to win one of these.
Very nice.
Starting lineup, Kemba Walker. We already have the Batum one here. And again, I'm going to break some collectors' hearts. Listen, you only live once, folks. You only live once. I don't want to go through life and not having ever touched this thing.
Oh, my God.
Look at this. Over. It's just like one of those YouTube videos where you do the open boxing.
Yeah. Unboxing.
Unboxing.
I think they call it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they do this with shoes a lot, right? By the way, you had a tweet today about the shoes that I want. Go David B. Walker on Twitter. I want to do like sentence diagramming on this tweet. There were words in there that are like cop, and there were a couple of other words in this tweet that were interesting.
Okay.
Anyway, there he is. I just need I need to be in your world, David. I need to be as cool as you.
Well, I'll try and be cool on the internet. So I think that's where it pays off the
most.
How is
this? Is this height diagram? Is this height pretty good? I guess that's about. I mean, Batum is rising up, so it's a little different. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good comparison there, Kemba Walker to. Anyway.
Very cool. Thanks for the Hornets for sending that over. That's a 5 o'clock tip, Doug.
5 o'clock tip, so get there early, and there's going to be a lot of giveaways, a lot of deals, so yeah, get there early. First 7,500 fans get one of those. So, all right, what's next? And now it's time for a brand new segment called Under Review, our version of True or False. A few Hornets and NBA topics that we'll send up to Secaucus, New Jersey, and get a ruling on. Hopefully, ours don't take quite as long as they do in the NBA. This is not going to hold our show down. All right, number one, first one. The Hornets break their losing streak tonight. True or false?
That's true, Doug. The Hornets are going to break the losing streak tonight. The Nets only have 9 wins on the season. One of them was against the Hornets.
2 of them. Oh, wait, one of them was. Yes, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. 2. Okay, yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm sorry.
This is for the season series tonight. The Hornets could take it, I believe.
I have the best words.
Yeah. I know words.
I have accumulated data.
That's right.
All right, next one. The Hornets should pursue. By the way, true. I think that's true as well.
Okay.
The Hornets should pursue a veteran free agent for the backup point guard position.
This is an interesting one for me. I'm going with yes on this, Doug, because I just think the options are limited. You've got guys out there like Jarrett Jack. Kendall Marshall's a young guy. I don't know if that's exactly going to fit. I'm sorry.
What, a veteran?
Just a veteran guy. And I just think you're either going to bring him up from the D-League, which they've already done, and a guy like Ray McCallum. Not a guy like him, the exact guy.
But that's going to be 10 days, and then you have to reevaluate at that point.
Right. So it's either that or a trade, and I just think with Brian Roberts not knowing what Sessions is up to right now, that's one way to go, and it seems like a viable option.
True or false? This we've got this play here. Yes, this was the true or false. This was the best Hornets play all year against Utah. Into the third quarter, buzzer beater, Kemba with two guys on him. It was reminiscent of Baron Davis and his 89-foot shot. This one, not quite as long. This was about, 38 feet? But was that the best play of the Hornets season?
You know, we haven't seen a ton of those from Kemba this year, right? Or from anyone. We haven't had a lot of walk-off jumpers,
We've had a lot of
winners.
Frank Kaminsky.
We've had some shots in that area, but none of them got close to the rim.
No. I think that was the most exciting play. What do you guys think out there in the crew? I think that was, I think it was the most exciting play all season. He had two. The thing is, he had two defenders on him.
Things were going so well. That's what made it. Things were going so well at that point.
Yeah, and then the fourth quarter happened. All right, so next one, true or false? This was the best NBA play all season.
Yes, I know
from
it is.
A night ago. Talk about football pass. Kevin Love to LeBron, turnaround for the tie. They go to overtime. They eventually win the game. Let's see it one more time. Look at this. I mean, the pass is impressive, David. Not just the shot that LeBron hits here, but Fede, I don't care if he traveled.
You think Melo's going to be able to throw that pass? I don't think so.
No. All right. I like that. Shots fired. No, exactly. All right, true, false. Kemba Walker, this was especially for you, David.
Okay.
Kemba Walker is now in the top 3 Hornets of all time.
Well, he's been in my top 3. So really that question is for you,
This
Doug.
one is for me.
He needed verification. He needed some sort of award, you said. So now he's got his award in the All-Star.
Yes, and he has a chance to get some hardware with the 3-point competition coming up.
The fact that was
he's verified. I'm giving him my, you can't see it. There we go. I'm giving him my Twitter
an executive order. Show it up. Show it to everyone so you can see it.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
He's in. He's in my top 3 of all time. He bumps. Who did he bump? Because he
Del
bumped
Curry.
He bumped Curry. I think Curry.
For all of his awards.
I think Dell, having covered him for so many years now, I think Dell would be fine.
Well, the thing about that is Kemba is, well, he's still pretty far behind him on the scoring list, right? Mm-hmm. Dell is so far out in front of everyone, but yeah.
I think he's definitely top 3 of all time, and I was waiting on that hardware.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Thanks, Kemba.
All right, we've got a question. Let's pause for a question here. Let's go out to YouTube. Steve, Aussie Steve, very dedicated listener from all the way in Australia. Are we judging Brian Roberts too harshly off one performance?
No, Steve.
I thought he has been really solid for us in the past, has been sitting on the bench for a while.
Yeah. That's true, but I just think I don't know that anyone's expecting a whole lot more from him. To be honest, I mean they're judging him on 2 guard minutes, right?
Great practice player, knows the system.
This is what he is.
Can practice well.
I don't think anyone's getting down on him for his play. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think he just knows the system, and he was there to be a third point guard, to be an emergency point guard, and if it looks like 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, some unknown number for Ramon Sessions. He did have some work done on that injury to his torn meniscus. Thank you.
There we go.
And I know words. So he's going to be out for a little bit, and I think they do have to address it in some way. I don't think Ray McCallum is that addressing that. I think he now becomes the emergency, and Brian steps in. But I think if this injury turns into more than 6 weeks, they may need to address it. But I think it's good that they haven't immediately addressed it because you want to kind of see where the season's going to go. The season's not hinging on that backup point guard position unless Kemba Walker gets hurt, and you don't want to make a move and lose some pieces if you start to see, this thing's not turning in the right direction.
Right.
You just hold your cards. Daniel says he's Gennaro Pargo 2.0. I mean, that's not a bad comparison because, again, Gennaro was one of those pieces, a great practice player, and got all kinds of compliments about how good of a teammate he was and how hard he practiced. And you need those guys on your team, but when they're forced to play, then you have certain issues. All right, true, false. This is a perfect question to follow this up with. True, false. The Hornets still get to the playoffs.
Oh, boy. I'm going to say yes right
True
now.
still.
I'm going to say they're come back healthy. Cody is close to coming back. Obviously, that's a key piece. Not going to go tonight, as we said, but it sounds like he's getting closer. Once they get him back, I think they've got one more push left in them, and I think the teams around them, even though like Middleton could be back with Milwaukee soon,
right?
I think the teams around them are going to give them just enough room to climb back in this thing.
Yeah, Bucks sitting in 10th, a half game behind the Hornets, and a half game above the Hornets sit the Pistons in 8th. So, again, those are two teams that I think the Hornets could very well outduel. And then you start looking at the Bulls at 26 and 26. That look, the Bulls have got to fall off for once and for all at some point, right? They keep living. They're the zombie team right now. They won't die. All right, finally, for our last review, we go to our question of the show.
Always question with the Q. Questions help us learn things new. Question marks are very cool, especially when you're in school. Always question when you try. You'll find who, what, where, when, why. Question marks are very fun. Let's break them down now one by one.
I got to look at this LeBron play again. Look at this. I got it up on the screen here.
Were you watching this at
the time?
Turn
around for 3. You got it.
I was watching that live.
I did not watch it live.
And he had just missed a layup to, I think, take the lead or tie the game, which he got away with a massive travel.
The thing is with the Love pass, it was a chest pass. It wasn't even like a heave. Kevin Love just has those.
The pass,
the
catch, the pass, the catch, the pivot to get back behind the 3-point line and then just launch it. You know how far that is?
The biceps. Oh man, if we had like a really strong, like a Dwight Howard, we could say biceps. You know, that'd be like put that. Somebody hold that for me. Hold that pun for me for Twitter. Captain Kurt's on. He's writing your words. Okay.
What are you doing?
All right, time for the question of the show. David, rest of the crew, listening and viewing public, we want your input on this. Would it be better at this point for the Hornets to land in the lottery? We do have a Twitter poll. We'll get to that in a second. So here's the deal. I think that the Hornets are going to compete no matter what. I mean, Kemba Walker, the rest of the crew, Steve Clifford, they're going to fight to get in the playoffs because that has been the stated goal of this franchise, not only to get into the playoffs, but win a playoff series.
Right.
But they sit 5 games under 500 in an Eastern Conference that will, as you know, I just showed you the play. I mean, it's going to be dominated by that team. Whether they make a trade or not, I think the Cavaliers have enough to get into the finals. That's the thing. When you hear LeBron James talk, he's not talking about, get me a playmaker so we can win the East. No. He's talking about, get me a playmaker so we can beat the Golden State Warriors. Okay.
Right.
If you don't have enough juice to get this team to 6th, 5th, to force a positive matchup, then I think it might be better for the franchise. And I don't think they're going to tank. They're going to give it all they got, but I think it would be better if maybe they gave it a shot in the lottery this season.
Yeah, I'm still in the camp of getting in, just because I think that's how you build sustained success within a franchise. I mean, making the playoffs every single year.
Yeah, no, I'm not advocating. That's an important distinction. I'm not advocating tanking. What I'm advocating, I'm just advocating fortune, because I think, look, the Hornets have had such bad luck in the lottery. I think maybe they're due for, like, if they try really hard and
it'd be a good year to be in there.
That's what I'm saying. I think they could please the basketball gods by trying really hard, just missing, and then ending up like the Spurs or some of these good teams that end up in the lottery and somehow strike it rich. The Bulls did it with Rose. Who else has done it recently? But I think they could do that. Or think about this. How did they get Marco Bellinelli last season? They traded a first-round pick. We know they're going to be cash-strapped. It could possibly allow them to move that, lottery pick. A lottery pick, even if it's 14th, 13th, 12th, still has a little bit more gusto than one that's not in the lottery. This is going to be a loaded draft. All indications seem to be that this is going to be a guard-heavy, loaded draft. They could turn that pick into a useful piece.
They need useful pieces. I mean, I'm with you. It's tough because you always want to have something coming out of the draft. They just have not had good success there as of late. And again, I just go back to, I understand what you're saying with it's really which would you rather have right now, that draft pick or to make the playoffs again. God, it's tough though, right? Because you look at all the last couple of years, like, yeah, we made the playoffs, and then you get swept, or a competitive series last year and you still lose to a Heat team that you probably should have closed out when you had the chance. So I think that's a TBD, Doug, because the closer we get,
I think I'm selling them. I feel
the closer we get, I think after the All-Star break, we'll see once these teams confirm it up.
My thing is, it's not a Sixers situation. I don't see it. If they miss the playoffs, I don't see it really affecting the fan base in a significant way. Again, because I know they're going to compete.
Right.
I know they're going to keep going. So no one's going to say, "Oh, this team
blow this team up." You're just going to be adding, hopefully, a valuable piece to a team that should have stayed healthy this year.
Perfect point. They have a core
better.
locked in. It's not like they would have to start from square one next season. Let's go out to YouTube, our live listeners right now. Daniel saying, I'd rather get a lottery pick than get swept by the LeBrons. Mark saying, I want to win, but we could use some exciting young talent who can create shots to help out Kemba, but do we trust them to draft the right guy? And that's what our Twitter follower, Mr. Front Page, outside of Cody Zeller and Kemba Walker, the team hasn't made the right choice since Emeka. So there are a couple of conflicting viewpoints in the fan base right now. It's like, do you trust them with the lottery pick? But I think if that's why maybe I'm advocating if that were the case, they could use it in a different way, again, for the second straight season.
Right. Well, Kemba Walker was actually a result of a trade as well within the draft.
And moving down, moving up possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are all kinds of options once you're in that position.
I can't do draft talk just yet. We got to keep going.
That's right. There's a lot of basketball left to play, but I think it's an interesting question because of the record right now. It's not where any of us expected them to be. I did not expect them to have to make a significant run to get to our prediction, which was 45 wins.
That's not looking good right now.
No, and a lot of people thought we were a little pessimistic.
Well, I'll say this: if you're talking about locking it into the 8th seed, that's not that appealing to me, to be honest. Because just like what he said, that's likely a sweep.
I don't know if you have the winners drop, but we've got the perfect comment here from YouTube. Rad Smith saying, "You play to win the game." Anyway,
it's true. You always get back to that.
Let's see. We drafted Bismack before Kemba.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, you take the good, you take the bad, and there you have the facts of Hornets drafting. Make sure
I think they've paid their dues with bad draft picks. You're right. They're due for a little good fortune. This seems like the draft that it would happen in.
Yeah, good comments there. We got to move on. Let's go to the showdown. It's time for the showdown. That sound means it's time to put on the cowboy hat. By the way, I figured out how to put this. Figured out how to put this cowboy hat on. You got to one ear it. No, okay, I messed it up again. I'll try again. Let's kick it out to Calamity James while I figure this out for a preview of this pivotal week in Hornets action. Showdown number 1: Michael Kidd-Gilchrist versus James Harden.
All right, so last time the Hornets faced the Rockets, James Harden went off and dropped 40 on us, and we lost the game 121-114, unfortunately. The good news is that we were scoring well, like most teams do against Houston, but the bad news is that our defense is pretty awful. So if the Hornets can step up their defensive intensity, MKG in particular, even though he can't be blamed for the first game, we do have a chance at winning.
Miles Plumlee versus Fatigue.
Oops. Sorry about that. Anyways, yeah, like Doug, I was impressed by what I saw from the Hornets News Edition. Miles Plumlee on Saturday against the Jazz, especially with no practice. Personally, I think that he can be a great addition, especially defensively for that second unit. He does need to get some more practice time, though, because Clifford likes to run his defense through the bigs. And right now, he does need some practice. So we'll see what happens. But hey, I think he's off to a good start.
Calamity James versus the trade deadline.
Yeah, so this one's going to be on me because this is the season for trade rumors. Adrian Wojnarowski is a wizard at this, at keeping track of everything and breaking the news before anyone else. But there's always going to be a few days of rumors before a potentially big deal trade. And I think this year we got stories all over the place. We got Melo potentially going to Cleveland, Bulls doing whatever they're doing, all these 10-day contracts that are being signed, including Lance in Minnesota. So that's a nice one. But personally, I think that there will be a big ticket trade before the 23rd, but we got to keep up with all that. So.
And that is the showdown. And David, I figured it out.
Oh, look at that.
I look super cool. Like a super neat, fun guy.
If you're going to the game tonight, look for this guy.
Yeah.
Sporting a brand new hat.
They'll make me take it off and show it, make sure I'm not hiding
you got to take it off. The people behind you won't be able to see.
Contraband. Oh, that's true, too. Every week with the help of Captain Kurt, our wonderful producer, a.k.a. Hornets GIFs on Twitter, we're going to bring you a GIF or video clip specially selected for your Hornets pleasure. This week, the pick is a swan song to one of our favorite Hornets reserves and Walker, Texas Ranger voiceover specialist, Spencer Hawes. Let's take a look at that GIF of the week.
That James Harden would lead the league in assists. Remember that?
He did.
And he certainly is well on his way to finishing the year that way.
Left-handed thunder! Hee-haws! Hey, come on, guys. I like you.
I like ye. Yeah, we like ye. We like ye the time that we spent with Spencer Hawes. Fun fact, he's actually the first Hornet that I did a one-on-one interview with at Media Day 2 years ago.
Really?
So I will always have a special place in my heart for one Spencer Jefferson Hawes. Not sure.
Lightning bolt to those legs.
Sounds right.
I don't know. That may be his middle name. Time for one last thing. You can win one of these awesome Kimba figurines, by the way, not just by signing up and winning those tickets, but you can also win one by checking out our Instagram, Locked On Hornets on Instagram. Go there, follow us, repost the post that's on there talking about this little guy here, and then tag us in that post for a chance to win. It's a week of giveaways here on Locked On Hornets. All right, thanks so much for listening. That's all the time. Watching, that's all the time we have on this live edition of Locked On Hornets. Follow us on Twitter at Locked On Hornets. Subscribe to us on iTunes and stay up to date on the Hornets every day. This podcast is in your podcast feed every day. That's what the Locked On Podcast Network is all about. And we want to hear from you. Email us your Hornets questions, your thoughts to buzzbuzz@lockedonhornets.com. For David and the rest of the crew, Calamity James, Kurt, Justin, who I'm missing, Zach on Twitter. Go Hornets, go America. Beat those Nets. Let's swarm Charlotte.